What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Dean and Jen Gross of Gain here. Hope everyone's doing well. 7:30
Friday night.
Friday, all about efficiency. So many of you out there may have watched the game last night, game one of the NBA Finals. I know you were riveted, right?
Yes.
Pretty entertaining game, and some things happened during the game, and it actually has been going on all throughout the playoffs, and got us to thinking about a few things and how it relates not only to sports but to business, and it's just been a constant reminder. And that's really, first of all, the topic of LeBron James. Last night, if you didn't see the game, got away from Cleveland. They really, that one slipped a little bit, and there's a number of reasons why. That's not really what we're going to get into. But, he had a classic performance again, 51 points. He's been putting on an absolute show during this whole playoff run. And something that, as a basketball fan, I haven't seen something this outstanding in quite some time. But that's not really the topic. The topic is still how much hate he gets. It's literally, even during the game last night, messages, some from my friends and other people just nitpicking. I mean, I know specifically, and some buddies that talk about the fact that did he have a lane violation when he shoots free throws? I mean, just petty stuff that doesn't really matter.
I'm talking 51 points.
Yeah, but it's been a continuation. I've probably never seen an athlete that's been scrutinized more. His whole career, it's just like there's always an asterisk, like no matter what he does, and he's doing some unbelievable things right now. There's always a certain part of the audience that says, but, he's not Mike, and don't say he's as good as Mike, or he's lost this many finals. All these things, there's always someone out there, and more than most people that I've seen, that have a kind of a negative connotation to it, and it's really weird. It's really odd, and I think it may be more because of the day and age we're in, where there's so much scrutiny and so much access to people. I remember in the past, though, like when you think of Michael Jordan, he had a little bit of that. I don't think he had this much, and I think maybe the love grows once they retire and stuff more, and they forget about maybe some of the hate they get. But the point is, there's a lot of hate in, when you think of that, it's not just him in basketball, even though he's kind of the epitome of it. When you think of successful people, anytime people are doing groundbreaking things,
there's always going to be those haters.
There's a lot of haters out there, and it's a lot of negative energy, and there's probably a number of reasons for it. Obviously, jealousy is one, and sometimes people feel they have limitations, and they're afraid to maybe take risk in things. When you think of in the business world, and they see people doing it and going big, and maybe they're not have the courage to do it themselves, and so they want to bring that person down necessarily to their level. Because you see that, and like I said, in all professions, not just sports. We've been in outside sales for a big part of our career, and successful people, always had their fanfare, but there was always those in, like in sales saying, well, that so-and-so had the best territory, or so-and-so had optimal leads, and all these things, and instead of really just kind of appreciating the moment. And when you think of someone like LeBron, I'm thinking, why don't some of these people just kind of appreciate what they're witnessing, enjoy the entertainment?
Yes.
Because the other thing you see a lot of folks saying they kind of live in their glory days. Well, again, when they compare maybe to Michael Jordan or whoever, and they say, oh, the basketball was so much better in the 80s or 90s, just because that was maybe the time they grew up, or when they were young. And
it's a different day and age.
Yeah, it's a different day and age. And so we thought, man, there's still a lot of parallels to that in business. In business, when you're successful, I don't care what you do or how nice you are to people, there are going to be people that just don't like you, don't appreciate you, and are going to hate. And I know we've touched on this topic before. That means you're doing some great things. You're disrupting the system.
Yes.
If you think of LeBron, the fact that he's just the topic of conversation, there's lovers and there's haters. He's disrupting the whole system because he's making an impact. And in business, it's the same thing. When you're making an impact, you're going to have a camp of followers and lovers, and you're going to have people that don't like you no matter what.
You're going to be noticed, that's for sure.
You should really, appreciate that and know that not everyone's going to like you. It's never going to happen. So don't get discouraged by haters. But the second part of that, when I was kind of referencing people that say compare eras and things in sports, instead of just kind of sitting back, is the evolution. Yes, today's game is different than yesteryear's game, and players are what they are because of the prior players. So it's a natural evolution of the game in this case. Business is the same. Obviously the internet has taken over.
Yes.
And we still
changed the way that we do business today.
Yeah.
I mean, in every single industry.
And like those guys that may be a little grumpy and say, well, it's not like the good old days when they were able to foul harder and they wore short shorts or whatever the case that they would say. In business, people say the same thing.
I don't know that anyone liked the short shorts.
Yeah, I know. That was a joke. That was a joke. But in business, the same thing where, well, we couldn't just get 50,000 leads emailing us. And I pounded on every door, and there's a certain amount of pride for people to do that. But that's just the evolution of business. Mm-hmm. And you either adapt and evolve and appreciate it, or you fall by the wayside. I mean, you just see these parallels because you see that conversation a lot too. It wasn't so easy back then and all this stuff, or you don't even see people in person. Well, certain jobs are irrelevant now, and people have lost jobs, and that's an unfortunate thing. And I know that's something Gary Vee's hit on topics before, is just like, unfortunately, no one cares. If your job is no longer there, you got to adapt to move on and create a new position, a new career. The good news is today there's more opportunities than ever before because of the internet and more opportunities for entrepreneurship and stuff. So I just see a lot of parallels to that, where people maybe don't want evolution of sport and don't like the way it's going, but that's the way it is. That's the way it's evolved, and you can either appreciate it or just fall by the wayside. Business, the same thing. It evolves, and instead of using energy negatively and complaining about it, it's better to adapt, find your niche, and go. And so just because it's been such a onslaught of this, we thought it would be interesting to discuss. And, I guess a few recommendations that we have on that end is, if you're a person that maybe is in that boat and you find yourself fixated on complaining, whether about the certain business atmosphere or it is maybe sports and things like that, it doesn't serve you. The negative energy doesn't serve you. It's not going to help you in any way.
Change your focus.
Yeah, so you're better off focusing on how you can improve in whatever you're doing than worrying about somebody else. Mm-hmm. Whether they're successful, not successful, whether you like them or not. If you're a person that's receiving a little bit of hate and you're not used to it because maybe you've hit some more success and that's great, and you're thinking, man, all of a sudden all these people are raising this negativity on me. I would just say take some encouragement there, because again, you can't please everybody. Right. And this just shows you're creating some disruptions. You're making an impact, and there's going to be far more people that appreciate you than don't. And so almost take that as a badge of honor if you're getting more haters than you did before. Congratulations. And then the third tip I'd say is the whole point of evolution. Just like we say with sports, things evolve, game changes, players change, athletes change. The business world obviously has changed dramatically over the last 20 years or so, and it's our challenge to adapt to it. Mm-hmm. If you're not an internet person, become an internet person, and just your good old days of whatever you used to do, be adaptable and be prepared to a change later in the future.
And it doesn't mean that all the stuff that you learned and were doing in the past aren't working, today, because there's still, even in the sales industry, if you were a door pounder and now it's internet or social media marketing, combining those two efforts together is extremely powerful, because that person that's only doing the social media marketing, but they're not doing the face-to-face door pounding and the the networking events, like those are two different dynamics, and when they're combined together, that's explosive. So if you can bring in the benefits of the past and incorporate the benefits of today, like you've got a huge win. And
it is all focused, because you've got a huge advantage. You have, let's say you have that strong prospecting skill set and you learn these newer skill sets, but the point is not to get fixated on not being disappointed that the game's changed. Mm-hmm. Instead, utilize the skill sets you have And that's kind of the same
Adapt.
analogy we're looking at with sports. Instead of fixating on the negative of what you maybe not like about something, think about the opportunity. And in this case, it's just pure enjoyment of what we're seeing because we're seeing history. So thought it was a pretty good reminder for a number of things. Like I said, some people are getting some of that negative energy, probably not near as much as LBJ, but he's on top. And so you just know how to deal with that. And if you happen to be one that's find yourself fixating on things like that, on way things used to be or on certain people, you're much better served to fixate on what you can do to improve and grow than worrying about the past or about another individual. And then the third, like we said, is use your skills that you've adapted and acquire new ones and be adaptable, because the future is going to look much different in a year or two, and we all have to change. And it's the days of doing the exact same thing your entire life, maybe for a career, is not really a reality anymore. But be excited about all the opportunity we have. So that's kind of our long-winded form of disruption. So be disruptive. It's always good. And please like and share this with your friends. Connect with us on growthandimprovement.com. And if you're not on a newsletter, it's gainhottips.com. And we'll try to give you more disruptive tips. You can be disruptive in your industry and in your health and your overall wealth of your entire being.
Yes.
And with that, it's movie night. We want to get this thing done so we could watch a movie with our two little ones. We're going to do that. And we wish you guys a great weekend. Anything else?
No, that's it. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, guys.
Have a good night.